Alright, so we are back for episode 4. So really all I've done between episodes is just kind of sit here and let some research build up so we can see our core composer has started to build up a nice little tower here. And if we go to our tech tree, we've got 123 cores now. So let's do a little bit of research. Let's get smelting speed up. So what does that do? Up on the top left it says increasing smelting speed of all smelters to 125% of base speed. So what are we at now? Now we are at 38 per minute and producing 19 ingots per minute. So still actually not quite enough. That's still only producing 57 and we're consuming 60. So let's go back to research and let's see what we do if we go to terraforming and we get MDR speed 2. Increases mining speed of all drills to 160%. So before we were producing 25, now we're producing 40. So here we are now producing 120 ore, which means we need to at least consume that much. So we now are actually producing just a little bit too much. So let's get another smelter in here. And let's get that smelter getting fed. And getting in some ore. And now we can see, though, this is probably not going to work out, right? So we have... these are only making a little bit less... or consuming a little bit less. But this is at least gonna, the ratios still don't work out too nicely. I'm not quite sure why they have chosen, to make the ratios work so weirdly, but for now, these 3 drills are getting us 120 ore per minute, and we are producing, this may barely be enough. We have, 120 ore producing exactly 60 per minute, right? So every ore becomes 2 iron bars. So now we're producing exactly enough. And what is our problem here? He just doesn't have enough ore. That's the problem. And he's continually going to be starved because he's at the end of the line, and these 3 are consuming 38, 38, 38. So there's only 6 extra ore per minute actually getting to this guy. We really do want another drill. We just don't quite have space, and as long as we're producing what we need for this small little setup, which we are, oops, and look, we're out of fuel here. Let's get a little bit more fuel in here. That is not good. We have some spare copper, so that's fine. We really don't need a whole lot going on here. We'll activate the crank. We can really just walk away here, but let's finish. What other upgrades do we have? Let's get limestone extraction. This says enables ability to extract residual limestone from kindlevine powder via smelting. I think that's a typo. I think they really mean kindlevine extract. Logistics. Fast inserters we are definitely going to want, but before that we want pack size 2. That's going to give us a lot more rows in our inventory, which is super, super useful. I guess we spent a little bit in there. Let's crank that, and then let's head out. So now we have our purple research being automated. Of course, every 5 minutes we really need to go back there in order to keep cranking that generator, but at least we have something being automated, and we haven't touched the main base at Victor here in a little bit now. So unfortunately, we are definitely going to need to recrank these generators. Let's. Luckily, the smelting does not rely on. The smelting doesn't rely on power, so our smelting kept going on both the copper and iron side. And as soon as we turn these on, we see the lights all turn back on, the power floors. You know what I should have done too, and I'm just going to have to run right back. I should have grabbed all my extra power floors. I did not check up on my power floor production. So let's just grab some. While we're here, actually, we know we need plant matter for our copper, so let's get a little bit of spare plant matter, I suppose, will be nice to our copper. Again, what we're doing at Lima, eventually we'll have some water wheels. We won't have to keep running back there except when we want to grab power floors. But we really just wanted to get some of that purple research getting automated without having to waste space in our main base here. So doing that over at Lima allows us to use up basically some of that iron and copper production without causing any problems. So we're not tapping into our resources here just to produce that research. It's just a nice little use of space. And anytime we have a big tall ceiling, it's where we like to put those core composers. Again, these green vines give us a lot of plant matter. We've already got over 2,000, that's 4 stacks. That should be at least enough to keep our copper here going for a little while. Alright, that should be plenty of plant matter. Let's get this going again. Alright, oops, that was the wrong direction. And you know what, let's just get that going a little bit faster. So that should be enough plant matter. Look at all these glorious power floors. You know, we're just going to take them all. You can never have too many power floors. And we'll recrank. And now we will leave Lima and go back to Victor. So again, we already have 26 research cores again, so let's start thinking about what we want to get. We have the stuff in transportation. We don't actually need to build accumulators yet, so we're going to hold off on that. Some of these things are useful, but we don't probably need them quite. The processor units, that's probably the next one we're going to get. Again, some of this has changed. The whole layout of the tech tree has changed since this new base building update, so I actually do have to get used to this new tech tree. Luckily, most of the recipes haven't changed. There's a couple things that have changed a little bit, but nothing has majorly changed as far as I can tell from playing my other save. But let's get back here. Oh, this is, are we just totally out of fuel here too? That looks like that's the case. We are. We're out of fuel. So we'll have to get some of that in there, and let's just gather some more fuel real quick. I just enabled hover, just again by double jumping. Hover can sometimes be nice, sometimes it can be a little bit annoying. We can actually, we're a little bit too tall for this area, but it'll squish us down here to help us fit in. So sometimes you need a minimum of 2 blocks in order to stand, and even though we're a little bit taller than 2 blocks high, it can squish us down there. Alright, so we're gathering some more of this plant matter. Lots of plant matter all around. What is the status? Oh, these are all out of fuel too. I guess I stood over at Lima for a little bit longer than I realized, and we have just absolutely used up all our fuel. That's okay. We're actually about to build another thresher setup, which is going to produce fuel for us. And in fact, let's get going on producing. We're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. All right. So we have plenty of copper. We have plenty of iron. So it's really not a big deal if those aren't, or if the iron's not producing for a little bit, because we really do have plenty of that. So let's scan that. A little bit of spare parts is always good. These lily pads are always great to gather for plant matter. They have a lot of plant matter. And let's see, we have 26 of those blue seeds. The blue seeds are the next seeds that we're going to need, but I think we might need a little bit more than that. So while we're here searching for plant matter, let's actually just go over to the area where we can gather more of those blue seeds, because we're going to need, you need a decent number of seeds to get your thresher systems actually up and running. And those blue seeds are over here in this area. Just going to keep gathering as we go. Again, remember, I'll say this, you can never have too much plant matter, at least in the early game. Eventually we'll get to the point where maybe we have too much plant matter, although with this new base building update, I think they have tried to do some rebalancing, so I think that we may not run into some of the same problems. So, let's see, we want just a number of these blue seeds, these shiverthorn seeds. I think there's some more back here. Yep, looks like there's a whole bunch of blue pants back here. And we're starting also to get, we got about 1,500 plant matter. That's perfect. So this is all going to go into our iron. I think we've got one more little nook here we can travel along to. Yep, look at this. A little bit more where we can gather. Yeah, the vines on the ceiling are always good. And I think we've got most of the easy blue seeds to gather here. No more vines up here. What's going on here? Where are we? Oh, looks like we just looped right back around. Okay, so we've got a decent amount of plant matter. We've got a decent... Oh, I missed a blue seed. We're going to grab this blue seed. That's 50. That should be more than enough to get us going with our next thresher setup. Alright. gathering all the plant matter as we come back around. And this is all going to go in to feed our iron setup here. And look at that, we're back just in time. We ran out of power. Let's re-crank. Alright, and let's get all of this to feed our iron production. Okay, so we have this whole setup here. I think what I'm going to do, it's, you know, it eats up a lot of space. I think, where do we want to do this? We're going to have all of our production kind of in the middle here, and these really do eat up some space. Let's see how wide is this. So from here, I guess here over, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, if I counted that right. Wow, we need 23 wide to make this setup, and I don't know if we have 23 spots here. Do we have 23? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we don't have 23 wide, so we're going to have a problem here if we try to build... You know what, let's just make this wider. We're going to need to build this whole space up anyways, so we might as well do it now. Even if we cannot build our next thresher setup right here, oops, so sometimes this happens, they have, an update they did recently seems like it messed up how all of our power floors want to snap together. I'm not sure why. We'll get rid of the ones in front of the stairs here, so we can just nicely walk down the stairs, which super nicely also conduct power now. The stairs used to not conduct power, so you used to have to build your power floors vertically like so in order to connect between levels, but now our stairs are conducting power. So let's see. You know, we could build it above, but eventually we're going to need a second... You know what? Yeah, we're just going to build it above, and if we need to expand our planters, we'll just do that in the next level. So let's just do this. So we're going to build another level here. Of course, that level needs to be one higher to go on top of the thresher, it looks like. Oops. Alright. So this is the level that we need. Alright. This is why the hover pack is so nice, because it allows us to hover up here and build. So we're really just going to try to mirror what we have below. So we need to go all the way out here for our thresher build. So let's keep going. And how far out? This goes about here. So we're going to need all this space for our next thresher build. I think, alright, so we need 2 more that's coming this way. So we're going to have to clear out a little bit of space here. And now you see these power floors don't have the little yellow triangles. That means they are currently not powered. That's because, again, there's nothing connecting this power network to the power network below, so we need stairs. So let's just have some stair. Where do I want stairs? Let's do our stairs here. Let's do something like this. I think I like that. Don't know why we have a hole here. Alright, we filled in that hole, and now our stairs in this new update conduct electricity, so we have this. This is great. Looks like I didn't need to go out this far. Oops, it's okay. So 3 in, and then we're going to have our belt. So this is going to be the belt that's traveling along our planters. I'm going to mirror this exactly above and below. So that's just how I'm going to do it. So that means this belt is coming along here. And that means our planters that we've made go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have a gap of 3 in the middle for our seed belt. And let's get those other planters placed. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Let's let's get this. And if you notice, I'm low on inserters, so while we're building everything, let's just build a whole crap ton of inserters, because we're going to need a lot of these. We're going to need a lot of these. Alright. So there's that. I think this is the spacing that we needed. Let's see. Again, this is my OCD kicking in. I like everything to be the same. Yep, we had one gap in between this guy, and there were 3 in total between... oh, and look, see, we're eating into our accumulated power, so luckily we're here to work. Alright. Yep, I think this is it. So let's get our thresher here. That is the layout we need for our thresher, and I think that we just don't have... Yep, oops, I fell all the way underneath. It's okay, we have our stairs. Also, we are moving just so much faster with that suit speed 2 under transportation. Suit speed 2 is really nice. We also have some extra cores here. Let's think about what we want to unlock. Let's see. Let's get Shiverthorn coolant. What are we gonna want? Fast inserter is really nice, but do we want to spend 50? Yeah, we'll spend 50 cores on it. That's okay. I think we need to go back and let's recrank these. Crank. So while we're producing all these inserters, we're just gonna quickly go back here and recrank our production over at Lima. Again, always gather plant matter when you can. You never know when you're going to need more. And when I say that, I mean you're always going to need more. So let's just gather some of this while we're here. I think we've pretty much exhausted the plant matter we have easily available here. Although, now that we can hover, we can get a little bit higher and gather some more of these mushrooms. Look at that. Look at all this other plant matter we're getting. And we looked like we're good there, but yep, we're out of power here, so let's activate that crank. And now we're going to keep producing there. Okay, I think we're good. No, we're not. We're really not good there. We are just absolutely eating through this plant matter. Let's do a double jump. We'll get to hovering, and you know what? I know where there's some more plant matter around here. Besides all these shrooms on the wall, we can we get up there? No, we can't. We gotta go around the corner here. We got lots more plant matter up here. Look at this. It's a veritable bevy. Plant matter for days, and by days, I mean barely minutes, as we are just absolutely cruising through all of our plant matter. But it's good we're back here anyways, because we're about to go through a bunch of power floors, and look at this, we got something to scan. Let's see what it says.
These were training and information terminals, Breaker. Scan them and then open up your databank to take a closer look at anything that hasn't been scrambled or lost.
So if we hit B to look at the databank menu, we've got all sorts of stuff here we can read about. We're not going to go through that now, but as you scan more stuff in the game, there's lots to read about. We found our way back to where all of our cores are. Alright, let's hop back up here really quick. I want to get at least 2 stacks of plant matter. We're almost there. We've almost got 1,000. There we go. Let's get this over into our method here. So this method of getting plant matter out is just so much better than having to go individually to each one of these, at least in my opinion. And look at that. We've got a bunch more frames. That's good. Let's recrank now that we've got 5 more minutes. So let's think about this. We've got 5 minutes of power here, 7.5 per minute, so 7.5 times 5. That's 37.5, if I can do my math. So by the time we come back, we'll have 37 more research cores. Let's do a little crank there, and we'll head back. And while we're moving, actually we can't move actually. Let's do some research. Let's get mole, we'll get the flatten, and I'll show you how that ability works. So while we're here, if I'm just going to show something, might as well do it here so I can recrank before I leave. The flatten ability, it does exactly what it sounds. It's going to flatten the terrain. The way we get to it is, right now we're in the the tunneling capability. If we hit Z, we can switch to flatten and then hit Z again. You can't hit escape, you have to hit Z again. And then this is going to flatten out the terrain up to the level that we were standing on. So it's flattened out to the same level we were standing on. Now, the flatten does not always work super well. So if it doesn't work, don't be surprised. I've just found that sometimes the flatten doesn't always work if it's like a deeper hole, but that's how the flatten tool works. Press Z, we're going to go back to tunneling mode. Right now we see the bit size 5x5. We're eventually going to upgrade to larger bits. Alright, so let's see, what other tech can we do while we're here, just to eat some of it up. Eventually we are going to want those Mark II belts. Accumulators we really just don't need. Processor units, we'll grab those. And then we'll do one last crank here, and let's get out of here. Let's let this go to work. We'll grab plant matter along our way. I think there's another little tunnel here, but I think we might have already gone up that and gathered all the plant matter, so we'll just go back this way. And I think we're going to be back just in time to re-crank our generators here let's gather some of this. You'll see that box pop up if you aren't, if you hold E, that's what normally pops up unless you're gathering plant matter. So we didn't have our cursor exactly on some plant matter, so that's why that popped up. So we're just going to keep gathering this. Let's go re-crank. Yep, we are eating into our accumulation, so we got back here just in time. And we have all of our, well, maybe we don't actually have enough of these built. That's okay. So we are now just going to, again, we're going to reproduce the setup that we have just down below. And this one is going to come here. Now, I remember now when I set this up, this is actually going to work really nicely. I think we have a space in between, don't we? If we look down, yeah, there's a reason why that space exists, and I'll show you why that space exists. If I place this thresher right here, and then I place the next one down, in order for me to access all 4 of these ports, which I need to get the stuff out of the thresher with enough speed, I really, at the later levels of the game when the threshers are producing faster, I need to access this port. That's going to try to connect there. Now, I could play games, and I could do something like this, and if I delete that, yeah, you just, sometimes you can play games with the belts, and sometimes you can't. But that's why we place these threshers one spot away from that belt, just so we can easily access everything they're producing. So here we go. This is nice. So let's just get the inputs for our threshers, and then let's do our outputs. So this one, I think I need. Yep, look at that. We need a little bit more space up here, actually. And in fact, this one, I don't think this doesn't need to go anywhere past here. So if I have it going past here below, which I do, and look at that. See, we have all this extra plant matter that's just not being. Oh, let's gather that. All this plant matter is just not being used because there's no thresher past it. We only need those 3 threshers in a line. So now let's head back upstairs. While we're here, just re-crank those. And let's get a little bit more plant matter in there. Okay, so what were we doing? We were building all of our belts here. So we are going to use our output belt coming this way. And then we have to go out and around over here. And then the inner belt is going to come along here and go out that way. And then the inner belt is just fed directly on the side here. But then this other belt, again, has to do our little snake. So that comes around. We want to make sure, again, we're one space out from those ports. And look at that. So now we have all of our belts set up. We're just going to build a little bit more power floor up here so we have room for our chests. And while we've been doing this, we need more of our filter inserters. Let's just get our filter inserters on the bar. We need a filter inserter coming out here, and he is going to do Shiverthorn seeds. So again, the seeds are going this way. We need all the outputs on our planters. These are going to put the Shiverthorn stems onto the line, and then on the inside here, the seeds are going into the planters. These come from the thresher. Let's rotate. I did that wrong, didn't I? That's not facing the right direction. There we go. I didn't need to rotate when I moved out here. So now these are putting the, what are they called? The Shiverthorn branches or whatever on there. These are going to feed those branches in here. And then we need filter inserters on the outlet side. These are going to take the Shiverthorn buds. And these Shiverthorn buds are the input to each of these. So for now, we can just use a regular inserter. Oops. A regular inserter is more than enough at the beginning. We're only producing, not until we're producing at faster speeds did this need to be more than 20 per minute. But we do need to use the filter inserters on the output side because we are trying to get the right products on each belt. And it looks like I don't have enough of these. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now what do we want in each line? This one... You know what? We haven't researched enough, so in fact, I'm a little bit ahead of myself here. It looks like we need, under synthesis, we have not yet unlocked plant matter threshing. So, it's interesting, under Shiverthorn processing, it doesn't look like I can select, oops, that's not a filter insert. It doesn't look like I can select plant matter. All I can select right now is the Shiverthorn extract. That's interesting. But I'm going to send the Shiverthorn extract on this belt. So let's do that. All 3 of those. Or maybe they've changed the game and it doesn't produce plant matter, but I'm sure this produces plant matter. So there must just be something we have to unlock in order for our filter inserters. I don't see plant matter anywhere here. That is interesting. Okay, well either way, it looks like this is all set up. Those are going into the outer belt. So let's... And this buffer for now is going to be temporary. We're going to eventually change how this buffer works. I believe we have the fast inserters. We have 2 of them here. And we are, of course, out of inserters. This is going to be one of the next things we automate is inserters. Get that next one. Alright, so now let's get these planters rocking. We'll get some seeds in here. Now let's take a second to figure out, by now the area below should have kind of equalized out. We'll re-crank these. This is producing 10 seeds per minute, which means each of these takes 4 seeds, and these are finally now producing at the right. They've made it so instead of it being 128 seconds, it's 120. So this is producing basically 4 stems per minute. So that means it's going to consume 4 seeds per minute. So really, I'm surprised all of these are full. I think it's because I put a couple extra into the system. This is only outputting 10 seeds per minute. So in theory, we're using 1, 2, 2.5, right? 4, 8, and then half of the next one. But the seeds kind of just get spread out here, which is why I kind of have it going down further. So we really don't need that many planters full, but you always want some, I call them buffer seeds. So I think filling up 4 of these is plenty. We'll fill up 1 more, and we'll just kind of see. Eventually, again, it's going to equilibrate out, and this is going to be producing the seeds this produces are just going to come out here, and we'll kind of fill up the planters as they go. So we've got a little bit, maybe 30 seconds or so until, oh yeah, bottom left, 30 seconds until we start to get the first output here, and then that's all going to feed through the system. You know what, let's just get our floor all the way, can we reach? Yes, we can barely reach. Alright, so we got our floor out here. So now our factory's got these nice 2 levels, and again we've run out of power below, or back at Lima, so we're going to make a quick dash, and now look at this, we do not have enough power, so we need to expand our tunnels a little bit. We are not producing enough power, because these threshers use a lot of power. Threshers and planters together, they just use so much power, so we're going to dig out our tunnel here, and while we're doing this, let's actually make those so that you always want to be building something in the early game before everything is automated, just so that you can, you try to minimize downtime so you're not just standing around waiting on stuff to be built. Again, I'm OCD with my tunnels, so I try to make everything line up nicely. Get our power floors out here, our power floors out here. Oops. Here we go. And you know what, while we're at it, let's just let's finish this up. We are opening up into this other cavern here. And that's quite alright. So this is actually the back side of that iron deposit. It's a pretty big iron deposit as well, and there's a whole other iron deposit here too that we will probably end up using eventually. So we've got some more crank generators being built. Let's make sure they're facing the right way, just because by now you should realize I really like things to all face the same direction. About maybe 2 more seconds. Alright, and let's just recrank this, recrank that, and look at that. So now we are producing enough power. It's interesting, our planters, they all produced, oh look at this, see, silly me, I didn't connect that properly. So now it's going to take a second here. All of these are going to get eaten up here, but again this can only take so many at a time, so whoops, these are going to take a second to filter through, and actually I'm okay just waiting for this all to filter through. See, we're already producing a seed, that seed will go here. The next seed is already coming out. So now we're threshing, and these are producing these kindlevine, I don't know, what are they called? Shiverthorn buds, I think is what they're called. And here, so yeah, we're producing plant matter, but for some reason, I cannot take the plant matter out with these. That's very interesting. So we're going to run into a problem where the plant matter fills up here. So until we can get our filter inserters working, we're just going to have to manually... oh, and look at that. There we go. You always want to check to make sure everything's working the way you think it should be. And if we see, look here, our seeds are starting to get spread around. So this planter is now full again. This planter just got his next seed. And again, there's nowhere to put this seed. So the inserter has grabbed it, and he's just waiting for one of these plants to be grown. And then he'll put that seed back in. So now this one is full, and so then these two are going to be the next ones. And he's just holding his extra seed. So these inserters are kind of greedy. And the downside is, you know, we have to wait for all these buds to go all the way around because I so stupidly forgot to connect that. That's okay. You know, the game you play for a little bit at a time. You know, those things all work themselves out over time. And yeah, now that we see everything is working again, we can hit our power network. We are barely producing enough power, but we are just producing enough. But we have a couple more crank generators, so let's just get those placed. You always want to produce, you know, excess power. You never want to be too short, because if you don't have enough power, then your machines just aren't going to work as efficiently as they could. So there we go. Let's activate that crank. There we go. So now we have a little bit of a buffer on our power, which is nice. And yep, we can see again we're still producing more seeds. This one is now full. This one's full, so we're starting to look pretty nice here. And we've got a pretty consistent flow of materials coming out here. And look at all this Shiverthorn extract we have. And if we check the status down here, we've got quite a bit of Kindlevine extract building up, and a lot of this plant matter fiber. Looks like, are we still running into fuel problems here? It'll work itself out. So we actually have 4 drills here and 4 smelters, so this is just the right amount. We're producing, again, 2 extra, 40 per minute, 38 per minute. We've got the space here, so let's just get another smelter in the line to make sure we're using up all of our ore. And again, I'm going to put power 4s here just so that we don't have any problems. So let's get that going. We've got we've got 3 long inserters, we've got a couple spare. I guess I really need this to go all the way, don't I? Should always try to be consistent with our builds, just makes it look nice. Alright. And as usual, I'm already low on this, and so now I think the next step is for us to really get going with the factory side of things. Let's build this out a little bit more. And now we've got all this space. I'm actually just gonna do a big increase the size of our power 4 by quite a bit. We're going to actually start to automate some stuff. So we've got our purple science production going, that's nice. Now we've got all this space to do more production. Of course we're out of fuel here. I think these can take, yeah, they can take this as fuel, so for now, yeah, this is all just, these ran out of fuel, so the ore backed up, and these just have ore sitting in them. So, you know what, let's manually give these some fuel. Oh boy, look at that, it's consuming 30 per minute. That is not the best fuel, but you know what? We're going to use it for now, because we have it. Because we're a little bit low on plant matter. And let's get, we'll get the Kindlevine stems in there, and that in there. Because it can consume all those for power. We got plenty of copper though, I'm not worried. We've got the resources we need. Let's clear this out. What I'm doing right now is flattening. I could be doing with the flatten tool as well, doesn't matter. Digging, flattening. When you're doing something like this, it's all kind of the same. But let's give ourselves a little bit more production space here, because what we're going to do is now, well, we're going to clear this out. And let's just fill in the gap. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and open this up too. That's all we need. The smart snapping is not always the best, so we still need to clear this out a little bit. Alright, so we've got all sorts of stuff here. What I want to do is we're going to bring some copper up. Let's see, where do we want to build stuff? This is kind of in the way, but that's alright. I think we're going to do most of our building. Let's see. What we're going to do is I'm going to try a whole new system here. So, one, we need lots of inserters. And then we need lots of assemblers. And you see, those actually use that Kindlevine extract. So we're going to come here, we'll grab another stack of that. They have definitely changed the production requirements for these. These did not used to require Kindlevine extract, so that throws a kink in the wrench, but that's all right. A wrench in the kink? That doesn't sound right. That phrase is not working. But let's see. Let's just check everything is working. So we'll have a pretty consistent supply of these stems coming along here. So this thresher should be pretty active most of the time. Let's just to get more. If we can put more of these seeds on here. Eventually, it's gonna all equal out, and however many seeds the thresher is producing, that's, you know, it's all going to equal out, but we want to make sure the thresher is always producing. Right now, we're we're missing some stems, so we want to get as many stems on this line as possible, so that it doesn't ever stop threshing. I think this one is doing decent, but you know what? We've got the seeds. Let's do the same thing here. Let's make sure these are all full. And we just ran out of power. No surprise. Always remember to keep your cranks going. And in fact, I think we're still... Look at this. We are consuming so much power right now. That's insane. So, what does that mean? We need to build some more crank generators. And we just need to make this line even longer. And we also, again, there's lots of stuff to do in the game. We're going to have to go run back to Alpha, or Lima. We really want to keep our purple science production going. So let's crank that. Gosh, we are consuming so much power. Alright, so while we're producing the assemblers, we've got... Oh, we're running out of plant matter too, you see? We are just producing so much. Let's go up, let's grab some of the plant matter from here. Let's grab all that. Grab all that. I'm not sure why we can't put those in the filter inserters. That's very weird, but we'll get it figured out. It's probably just something that we have to unlock in the tech tree. So, of course, while we're running back, let's just gather some of this. Eventually we will move away from using plant matter for fuel, but that's a couple steps away yet in the tech tree. Here we go. Sometimes you have to be exactly on the thing. The hitboxes for some of these aren't perfect. Alright, we've got a little bit of plant matter here, enough to get us going at Lima. Alright. So we've got plant matter coming along. We're going to head back here. We'll see which one of these... a little bit more plant matter. We'll see which one of these is in the desperate need of plant matter the most. Looks like copper has run out, so let's get copper, all this plant matter. We're also going to need a lot of this copper for the next... If we see we need 2,400 copper ingots and 2,400 iron ingots, so we're just going to grab all of this. And of course we're out of power here. Let's recrank. And if we look how much power we're consuming, we've got a couple crank generators here that we don't need. I'm going to steal a couple of these. I don't think we need those all. We really need them over at Victor. Alright, so production is back on. Let's get a couple more of these power floors. You can see, I've been making power floors left and right. I've been using all of them to make these big production floors, so don't ever worry about making too many power floors. You're always going to use them. What are we doing here technology-wise? Let's see what else. We'll eventually need 180 cores. Is quite a bit, but we'll get there. We don't need the accumulators yet. I don't think we need these yet, so I'm going to hold back on those. And I know we don't need this yet, so we're just going to hold back on some of this. And we're just going to move over, and we're going to get some plant matter frames going. So that's what we need to actually upgrade the terminal. So we're going to do that while we get some other stuff automated. Alright, so we've got lots of assemblers being made right now. You see, the slowdown is making all these intermediate components, and that's what we want to stop having to do, is make all those intermediate components. So just as a stopgap, I'm going to place an assembler here, and I'm going to place a chest, and you are going to make plant matter frames, and we need this. We're just going to take a stack, put it in there, and he's consuming 60 of those per minute to make 15 per minute, so it's going to take us a little bit. So let's, this is just very temporary, just because I want to unlock the base. more stacks of this. Alright. Plant matter frames. Plant matter frames. Of course, I'm not going to be manually moving materials around like this for very long, but I just want to get these plant matter frames going so we can upgrade Victor. But in the meantime, gosh, see, look, we are just struggle busing with
Local
fuel.
signal deciphered. Ingress PX0001. Report to production terminal Victor for triangulation.
Alright, that is not going to last very long, but that's okay. We've got some more crank generators we can place down. Let's get that done. And of course, we need to make sure they're facing the right way. And we barely got back in time. We were just starting to eat into our accumulation charge, so we got these going in time. Boy, fuel is going to be a problem for a little bit, but let's see. We really need to start automating more, which means we're going to have a line of copper coming here. Let's see, what are the things we need for copper? So copper we use to make copper frames, copper wires, copper components. Those are some of the intermediates, and then of course we make our mechanical components out of copper. And we also use copper in the production of these electrical components, but we don't use it directly, we use the copper wire there. So, you know, we're going to need quite a bit of copper wire. So what I think I would like to do is, I kind of want to build just like columns of production. This is a new setup I want to try. I think I'm going to do columns of production, and we're going to have our buffers out here. So you know what, we've got this row already set up. So let's do this. Let's see. What's the one that's going to be used the most? It's copper wire that's going to be probably used the most. So we're going to have that one the furthest over here. Let's we probably want some more space there. Space is really not going to be an issue, even if it looks a little bit tight here. It's really not going to be tight. Because we just have all the space in the world here for building, so I'm not worried about space. So let's see. All we're doing is building copper wire, and we are going to place them into this. So how do I want to do it this way? If I do it that way, I can fit more of them, but then we got to figure out how we want to route all the belts. I think I'm going to do it that way. For now, let's just have 3. And so now we need to bring our copper along. And there we go. So I think my main copper line is just going to move down like that. Get that belt flowing the right way. And let's just get... Yeah, this is... going to be a little bit tight. We might have to do a little bit of rearranging here in a second, but that's okay. You know what, while we're here, let's just, well, first of all, we've got too much in our inventory, so we're going to get some of the copper and iron out of our inventory. And in fact, we've been working for a little bit, so let's do 2 things. We got 160 out of the 190 we need, so we're making progress. Let's re-crank here. Activate the crank. Activate the crank. Let's get a lot of this stuff. We're waiting to get a couple more frames so we can head... Oops, stuck. We can head back to Lima really quick. We can make sure we crank that generator again just to build more research, because we are going to need lots of purple research cores. And you know what? This is telling us to decipher a signal. So
Signal triangulated.
We'll hit that.
New location added to HUD.
Now, we could have gone to either
Cartilage.
production terminal, by the way, to do that triangulation. So we didn't actually have to come all the way here for that, but I really just wanted to crank this. Let's look. We got 80 research right now available. So we don't actually need anything else from here. We got plenty of power floors. We have plenty of raw copper ingots and iron ingots, so let's head back here. Again, eventually we're not going to have to keep running back like this once we have water wheels going, and that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to get to the next research level. That's the most important thing. And we're just running out of fuel. This is frustrating. I feel like they changed the fuel consumption because I do not remember having problems quite like this with fuel before. So I think they have changed the rate of fuel consumption. 12 per minute, that's, I don't remember ever consuming 12 per minute. I think that is definitely on the high side. I think we're getting close to running out of fuel here too, probably, so we really need to put this fuel here. Okay. But we're backed up with fuel, so at least everyone's getting fuel and consuming it at just... Oh, we're backed up here because remember I put some of that plant matter inside these guys and they're still consuming that. But we have the frames that we need. That's good. So let's go and get our next upgrade. Getting upgrades always feels good. We're going to hit control click. We got just enough iron. Control click. We got enough copper. Control click. We got all of that. So let's get that upgrade.
Terminal upgraded. New technologies and recommended tasks available.
The tech tree is really opening up now, Breaker. Water wheels and mining charges are both going to be things I promise you won't know how you got this far without. Cooling systems will probably help you open up a lot of broken, overheated facility doors in the sector, too. And keep an eye out for those blue research core fragments.
Alright, we're just going to keep gathering all the plant matter we can. We can never, ever have enough plant matter, especially now that it seems like they've increased the rate of consumption of all this plant matter. Alright. So, let's get some of this plant matter into the system. Where are we low on plant matter? I think we were low over here at iron. We're definitely, you know what, I'm just going to give these guys plant matter because we cannot seem to get enough plant matter into the iron system. Alright, so let's look at the tech tree now, and let's see, now we can actually make a core composer. We found one on the ground before, now we can make it. We can do blue research cores eventually. Again, none of this stuff do we need quite yet, but water wheels, that's the key.
Task inbound. Water wheel. Used to generate hydroelectric energy for crank generator automation.
So we only have enough to make 5. We're going to actually start by making 4, and we'll make all 5. We're out of everything. We don't have enough iron, we don't have enough for iron components, so let's just, we've got all sorts of iron here. Let's get another couple stacks. But we're busy making all these intermediates, and so while we're handcrafting, let's fix that. So these are going to produce copper wire, and copper wire, and I know ahead of time I'm gonna need all sorts of copper wire. And the rate of consumption of copper, also here's a new thing, if I hit Alt, you can actually see what everything is making. This is a really nice view. Also, you know what, before we go too far, synthesis, here we go. This is what I really want. Fiber decomposition and biobricks. I think now we're going to be able to pull plant matter out of these. I'm not sure why we have to research that technology, but I think, yeah, for some reason now it allows me to pull the plant matter out. I'm not sure why that was a problem. Since the thresher is producing it, you would think they'd allow you to select plant matter as part of these filter inserters, but I knew we'd be able to eventually. So let's get this going. We know we need to pull all of that here. We're going to need some fast inserters because we're producing quite a bit, and some regular inserters. Alright, so now the line's getting a little backed up, but these will clear it out in no time. And I think Lima just ran out of power, so we're actually going to go back to Lima. And that's actually where we're going to place our first couple water wheels. Let's get rid of this. Do I already have a water wheel? I have my first water wheel. Alright, this is great. Let's get him on the hotbar. Oh, he was already on the hotbar down here. Alright, so let's get back to Lima. This is where we really want automated power, so we don't have to keep running back here, because we're not actually gathering materials from here now. We're really just letting this produce purple research for us. And we can see that purple research tower is getting pretty tall. It's maybe a little over halfway to the ceiling. We can kind of see the height of that. We're eventually going to have to place another tower. Alright, so let's get that cranking for now, but let's get some water wheels going. So, water wheels, we have space to get a couple of them here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dig out another tunnel here. This is where we're going to place, our water wheels are going to go right here. I should have cranked the other place before I left, shouldn't I have? Shame on me. So our water wheels are 3 wide, which is why I'm building this little pattern here. And this is the pattern I was building before, if you notice. So let's, we have our water wheels. Now the water wheels are obnoxious to place. They don't snap very well. It's frustrating. If you're struggling to get them to snap, the hint I have for you is actually to place a crank generator. And then if you go to the water wheel, just kind of highlight over that. And of course, I think these are flowing the wrong direction. So that is frustrating. I like to have my water wheels flowing the right direction in the water, even though it doesn't matter. Visually, get rid of that. Visually, it's a lot nicer when they're facing the right direction. And sometimes, again, you can clearly see they need to work on the smart snapping for the water wheels. It's just not, in my opinion, it's not in an acceptable state right now. There we go. Once you get one, it's a little bit easier. That's, in my book, that's something they really need to fix. It's just not in an acceptable state. But I know they've got more priorities. But now if we look, the water's flowing this way, so these wheels are moving in the right direction. And let's see what our power consumption is. We're consuming 50 kilowatts with these assemblers, because some of these assemblers, we don't have enough iron. Remember, we're just out of fuel here. Oh, this is not good. We're out of iron. I've got some spare iron to get going back in the system. So all these are paused, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 300 kilowatts. And then when our core composer's on, it actually, if you look on the bottom left, it's consuming 750 kilowatts. But we're just going to have these 2 water wheels here, and if we look over at the water wheels, we see bottom left it's a system torque 200 Newton meters. And if we place a crank generator on these guys, we see the crank generator is using 40 Newton meters. So then it tells us torque used and system torque. That means we can place 5 of these crank generators for every 2 water wheels, because each one of these water wheels produces 100 Newton meters of torque. So that means we can get 5 crank generators, and we need a couple more power floors here, it looks like. So let's 2. Sometimes it lets you place stuff, sometimes it doesn't. You always have to have something underneath the building to place it. You can't have buildings overhang. It looks like we need to dig out one more space here. There we go. So we'll get our last crank generator. We're going to steal that from here, actually. Alright, so all of our crank generators are in the same direction. We're producing exactly the amount of torque we're consuming, so now we can actually get rid of all of these. And now you see we have power here, but these power floors are not connected anywhere there. Well, now that our stairs produce power, let's just connect it with stairs. And it looks like we need to get rid of a little bit of the ground here. Alright, let's continue with our stairs. And now everything is connected, and now we can see we're producing 750 kilowatts, so every time the core composer turns on, we're going to run into a problem. It's going to consume a little bit more power, so the assemblers might turn off for a second. but that's okay. So we've got all the power in the world that we need here. We've got some extra power floors we can recycle, get rid of those. So now we don't have to keep coming back to Lima in order to crank the generators. These water wheels are just going to keep us going the whole time. That's really nice. However, we are going to have to come back every once in a while for fuel. We can clearly see fuel is just a problem here. You know, in the interim, nope, there's really just no extra fuel here. So we're going to pause for a second. We're going to have to work out this fuel problem. So let's run back. We're still producing some more water wheels. And so again, remember that ratio is 2 water wheels for every 5 crank generators. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a problem here because I obviously have well more than 5 cranks here. So I've set this up. We can at least fit 2 water wheels on each of these. So that's nice. Now this one, this row, we might be able to fit some more. Let's see how many more we can fit. So the water wheels take up a space that is 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 long. And that's why I kind of make this grid underneath here. I think we will be able, yep, it looks like we're going to just be able to fit 4 water wheels on this column. But on this one, we're not going to be able to fit any, a whole extra one. So we're going to have an odd amount of torque here. That's okay. And let's see, what direction do these need to face? They probably need to face the other direction. Can we get it in here? Come on. Like I said, the snapping for water wheels is not acceptable in my eyes. It just doesn't work very well. We have enough space above, even though it's tight. We do have enough space above. We're also now trapped. We may have to just accept the fact that our water wheels... I keep getting myself caught. We may just have to accept the fact that our water wheels are not going to spin the right direction if it doesn't want to crank those. See? Oh no, this is the right direction. That's perfect. So let's get underneath here, and let's get the next 2 water wheels. Let's refill in that little gap. Also, let's gather this plant matter while we're here. We know we need it. So this one, if we look, we're producing 300 newton meters, but we're consuming 560 because we just have too many crank generators on here. But we know we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the first 2, plus 1, 2 more. We just have to have a little bit of a break there. So this is using 280 newton meters of torque now and producing 300. So we've got 20 spare newton meters, but each of these consume 40, so we can't really fit another one on there. And in fact, we need to produce 1, 2, 3. We need 4 more of these. We're going to get 4 more, and that'll power a good portion of this one. So let's see what. Yep, these don't have a recipe yet. I got sidetracked here. We're producing our power now, that's good. We need copper. And all these... Yeah, I got sidetracked because we just don't have enough fuel. That's our problem. Fuel is going to be a problem for us until we get bio bricks. Let's get all this plant matter in here producing copper. And, alright, so we have copper filling up our line here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 2.5, what is that? That's 6 times 2 is, that's 15. So this is, that doesn't seem like, yeah, that's the right math. So we're consuming less than 1 inserter's worth of copper ore here. Let's get all these with copper ore. Let's have those producing wires, those producing wires. And you might say, you don't need this many wires right now. Right now we don't, but eventually we will. And so now, let's do Q. Oops, I hit Q too many times. So we have 6 times 15, that's 90. So we actually do need quite a bit of inserter power here to get all these in here. 2 fast inserters for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for now, we're just going to have the overflow come over here. Alright, and then on our output we'll be able to have copper wires coming out here. The reason I'm doing this buffer system is because I want to be able to, I want to have this buffer so that there's not material backing up in my lines, and eventually you'll understand what I mean by that. I don't want my assemblers ever turning off, so I'm going to have these buffers, and if this eventually fills up, that means I'm just producing too much, and then it'll back up, but I'm okay with that. Alright, so we're floating here, we have copper wires. The next thing we need is we're going to only need, I'm actually going to, let's see. Let's look at all the things we need. I'm going to do something interesting here. We're going to put our next box up here. Actually, let's place the assemblers first. We're going to use copper here, and I think what I'm going to do is move this assembler back, and now I'm out of assemblers, and we're busy making all the components. This is so slow. Copper, or the frames, whether it's iron frames or copper frames, they are very, very slow to produce, which is why we're actually about to get started on those. How many water wheels do I have? I only have 1 water wheel. Goodness gracious. Well, either way, we're gonna get another couple boxes up here. This one we're just actually gonna feed directly in. This is gonna be copper components. He's going to use 15 per minute. So these are all 15 per minute. This is 15 per minute. So we're consuming 30 copper per minute. We've got 40 coming out of the line for now, so we're good. And we have no spare assemblers because we're busy making all these frames, dadgum frames. But now at least we're producing, and actually if we look at this, we don't have enough power. Look at that. All these guys, they do not have the power they need, because I think, yep, this one has been turned off. So let's get that one going, and we're going to have to run back here to re-crank that. Alright, so now everything is producing, we've got enough power again. We are filling up with plant matter fiber, and we've got plenty of plant matter frames here. We actually went through all the plant matter fiber there. Let's, 1, 2, 3. Let's get some of these producing again. Again, this is all going to be automated eventually, but right now I'm just trying to make sure that we have stuff producing while I'm working on getting all the automation going. And I think this episode's probably gone on a little bit longer than I intended. But we're starting to get some of our automations. We're starting to get our copper wires here, we've got our copper components, and actually, let's do one last thing. This copper component is being produced at 30 per minute, and this is only moving at 20 per minute.
You're starting to get a nice little collection of research cores, Breaker.
The second one going. And now she told us that because we must have hit some internal marker for the number of research cores. But we'll pause here, and we'll start a new episode.